going to add a little bit more detail to this facade, and then we're going to use the panel system to make it even more intricate. So I'm going to rotate this around where I can see that front facade. And what I want to do first is I'm going to add some new grid lines. So I go over here to the Architecture tab, and I want to do a curtain grid. And so I hover over the side, and I want to put this at about 1/3 of the way down. So it says 4 and 8. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 on the front there. What we see is immediately it drops in that spandrel pattern, and this is just kind of gorped up and too much. So what I want to do is thin that down, and there is some information here on page 462 about the size we want to use. We're going to create a new one based on the 2.5 by 5 inch rectangle. So I'm going to come down here to the 2.5 by 5 inch rectangular mullion. I'm going to right click and create a copy by duplicating it, and I'm going to rename this a horizontal band. And then I'm going to go to edit those properties. I'm going to say type properties for this, and we're going to change the thickness over to 1'6", and then we're going to change the width to 4 inches, or 2 inches on both sides, and that'll be 4 inches total. And we'll say OK to that. Okay, and then we can select all of these. I'm going to pick one. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say select all mullions on grid line, and I'm going to unpin them, because if I don't unpin them I won't be allowed to change them. And then I can give them this new profile, this band profile. So it's like a little solar shading device, kind of nice. It's halfway in the building and halfway out of the building. We could play with that a little bit if we wanted to. I think that'd probably be something nice to do. This is beyond the book, but I think that looks better if it kind of pokes out of the building. So I'm actually going to pick it. Got to select the dang thing, tab, there we go. And I'm going to edit its type. And I'm going to say that it should be offset. Let's see if we can offset it 12 inches. 12 inches, not 12 feet. Let's apply that. See, yeah, that looks better. It kind of sticks out in front of the building. Maybe that's a little bit too far. Its thickness should be 1'6". So let's see if that. Let's see how that works. It should be in the building. Oh, it's offset from the center line 12 inches. That's not going to work. So let's edit that type, and let's offset from the center line 8 inches. And that should now be partly through the skin of the building. There we go. So you get a nice little shade on it. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that same solar fin to this facade on all the levels and around the corner, so it's everywhere. Okay, and so to do that, I'm just going to burn through this without narration. And then I have to select these to change them all. So I'm going to grab this one, hover and tab, grab that one, say select mullions on cross grid line, whoops, the other way. Hit escape to let go of those, do that again. Select this one, select all mullions, cross grid line. No, not a cross grid line, on grid line. That's what I'm doing wrong. Select mullions on grid line. There we go. And then I can pick this one while I'm zoomed in nice and tight here too. And then I can unpin all of these at once. And go ahead and change them to be must have multiple things selected. There, that one. And I can change it to be the band mullion. And you'll notice it gets this huge spike, and the reason is that it's mitering that corner. But one of them is a little tiny thing and one of them is a big wide thing. So when I make them both the same, that spike will be mitered to a similar profile and it won't do that to us. I change all of these to that same one. Then it will repair itself and it creates that nice corner. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all these different levels. Give us a little bit more definition to how this thing works. Got 3 over here I still need to deal with. I missed one. Let's do that again. This one. Oh, I did one wrong here actually, didn't I? Okay. So, let's fix all these things again. This one's the one I want. Too many 3D softwares these days. I keep holding the shift button when I'm not supposed to. And then let's unpin those and change those to the correct type. There we go. And then I've just got one more set here. Then I'm going to go back around the corner too. So this one, to right click, select mullions, on grid line, unpin, change them. There we go. Now we're making progress. Unpin, change them to what we like. Okay. There we go. So it gives us a little bit of a shading device of that front facade. That looks pretty good. Panels, and give them a little bit more detail, especially these center panels. So I'm going to hover over one of them and kind of get near the edge of it and tab until I get the panel I want. I just want that one panel. And I can do the same thing here. I can right click on the panel, say select panels along grid 2, and I'll get all those panels. Okay. Now, first I have to unpin them just like I do anything else. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these and I'm going to swap them out for a different panel. So I need to go over to the load button on the insert tab. I need to say load family. This came with the little unit downloads. So I'm going to go get that one. It's in my Dropbox folder. It's in this class. It's in the book files, chapter 10, and I want to get the curtain panel, and it's going to be a 3-bay panel. So I say open, has to do my upgrade, and now I should be able to swap those out. So I'm going to select that panel. I had to let go of it in order to do that. So I'm going to tab down, select that panel, right click on it and say select panels along grid 2. Now I've got them all selected and I've got this already in here, and I can say curtain wall, 3-bay panel, boom, and it's going to place 3-bay panels across that whole thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that for each level as well. In order to save a little time, the book shows us that one of the things we can do, rather than having to unpin these every time, is to select the whole system, and up here in the type properties, change the panel system to none. And what that does is that will unpin all the elements in the system. So when I apply that, all those pins go away. It doesn't change anything that's already existing, it just takes all the pins off. So now I can come in here and I can grab one of these panels, and you're going to see there's no pin on it. So I can go ahead and just right click on this, and I can say select all panels along grid 2, change them all out to the 3 panel system, and do that again down below. It saves a few steps. Select all panels along grid 2, change those out to the curtain panel. Now the end panels are a little awkward. If we look at this in a south elevation, we're going to see it may be easier, even easier if I color this. So let me go ahead and do a shaded view. See if that, yeah, that works. And we can see that these end panels are a little bit awkward with having all 3 of those in there. So I'm going to select that whole panel, and I can right click on this and say select all panels along grid line 1. We'll get the whole end all at once. I can switch these back to just a simple glazed panel, and then I can do the same thing over here. Select these, select all panels. Oh, I didn't get a panel, I got the whole system. So let me get in here and get a panel. There, select the panel, select panels along grid line 1. That gets the whole vertical set. And again, I can just say, you know what, I want those to just be normal glazed panels. And that gets us a pretty nice looking facade. At least it's organized, and we can take a close look at how that looks in here. It might work even better in 3D if we're not in color at this point. Maybe hidden line. Well, with all that transparency, it's a little hard to see the hidden lines. So perhaps we should go back to shaded. That gets us going. So I'm going to go ahead and save that file. So finally, let's take a look at the corners of this curtain system. If we look at a floor plan, let's go up and look at like a second floor or third floor plan, and just take a look at that corner and see what's going on. We can see that glass is just wide open. There's just a gap between those 2 pieces of glass. If we were to put in a shaded view, that might be a little bit more obvious. Yeah, there's like, see, the glass just has a hole in it. This is the mullion down below, and then we just have an air whistling through there, so we can't have that. So back over in 3D, I need to apply a corner mullion to this. Now watch what's going to happen. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say mullion, and I need to pick my corner mullion. I'm going to get the 5 by 5 inch corner mullion, and I go ahead and click on that system right here at the corner, and I'm going to say add a grid line. I'm going to click on that system, and it pops it in. Now what happened there is it made that system continuous, and it looks pretty ugly. I liked it better before. So what we want to do is I want to grab the system again, the whole system, curtain system, front facade. I'm going to edit type, and I'm going to change this back so that it says border and not grid 2. Just grid 2, not border, excuse me. So I say grid 2 is continuous, but not the border. And that should, you know why it didn't fix it? It's because we unpinned things. So I'm going to have to undo this, and I'll change that first. I'm going to say the first thing I want to do is make it so that when it installs this new system of corner mullions, it's not going to pay attention to the border. It's only going to keep grid 2 continuous, and I apply that. Okay. Now when I put the border on, mullion at grid line, L corner, and I put that on there, boom, it's going to stick it on, and it's not going to interrupt those others, because now the border is not defining the continuous element. I can do that at both sides. Oops, I want to grab the whole at the grid line, not just the segment. There we go. Okay, and that kind of shapes it up, gives us a little bit of a facade to look at. All right, next thing we're going to be doing is doing some wall types. I'll make those videos tomorrow, and you guys can continue working. Hopefully the videos will come back and sweep up any last minute questions you have. But I'm going to save this and be done for the night.